Have you ever trusted someone so deeply that you took something without asking why? A little white pill, prescribed by my therapist. For clarity, she said. But clarity doesn't mean peace, not when you start seeing what people really are. This isn't a hallucination. It's the truth the world's been hiding, and once you see it, there's no going back. They say healing takes time, but what if time isn't the cure, just the mask? When I first sat in Dr. Calder's office, I was a wreck. Couldn't sleep, couldn't think, couldn't stop seeing my ex-fiance's face every time I closed my eyes. Twisted, burnt, trapped in that last scream before the crash. He handed me a prescription with no words, just a look that said take these or drown. They were small, blue, no name on the bottle, just a sticker, for truth perception only. Do not exceed 1 per day. I took the first pill that night. I remember the exact moment it kicked in. The silence in my apartment thickened. The shadows deepened. My phone buzzed. It was a video call from my mom. She smiled on the screen, but something was wrong. Her face, it didn't move right. Her smile lingered too long, like it was glued on, and her eyes were completely still, like a doll pretending to be human. I blinked. The vision was gone, just Mom, asking if I'd eaten. I lied, said yes, and hung up early. The next day, it got worse. On the subway, people's faces flickered. Their skins peeled back for half a second, revealing something underneath. One guy had a face like a sack of writhing worms. A woman's jaw unhinged like a snake when she laughed. But no one else reacted. No one screamed. No one noticed. I thought it was the pills. Maybe my trauma was turning into psychosis. I confronted Dr. Calder. I expected him to dismiss me. He didn't. Instead, he leaned in and whispered, "You're starting to see what's really there. Keep going." That night, I didn't sleep. I stared out my window, watching my neighbor across the alley brush her hair. She always brushed exactly 100 strokes. But this time, she stopped at 90-9. And turned to look directly at me. Her eyes were glowing red. I didn't take another pill for 2 days. But then I saw someone whose face didn't change. Not even a flicker. A girl at the grocery store. Soft eyes, real smile. Her warmth felt real. She looked at me, like she knew me, like we were the only humans left. So I took another pill, and then everything fell apart. I started following her, not in a creepy way, at least. That's what I told myself. She had this glow like her existence didn't glitch like the rest. I waited outside the store for her shift to end, then watched her walk 3 blocks to a small coffee shop. She ordered chamomile tea, sat alone, and wrote in a red leather journal. No flickers, no unnatural smiles, no hidden faces. I wanted to talk to her, but how do you even start? "Hey, you seem real. Everyone else looks like demons in rubber masks." Yeah, no. Instead, I watched from the corner for 3 days. On the 4th, she noticed me. She didn't run, didn't call me out, just walked over and said, "You've seen them too, haven't you?" Her voice was calm, like this was normal. Her name was Lyra, and she wasn't surprised when I told her about the pills. She even pulled out her own bottle, same label, same instructions. She said Dr. Calder wasn't a therapist. He's a filter, she whispered. For the next phase, I wanted to know more, but she shook her head. "You're not ready yet." After that, I couldn't stop taking the pills. Once a day turned into twice, then 3. The world around me shifted with each dose. Colors dulled, sounds warped, but the faces, their true faces, got sharper. My boss at work had mandibles under his skin. I watched them twitch beneath his cheeks when he shouted at someone. My co-workers had black sockets for eyes. My neighbor across the hall, his spine bent the wrong way when no one was watching. And my mom, God, I visited her house last weekend. She hugged me, kissed my cheek. But, as we sat down to eat, I saw her mouth move before the words came out, like a bad dub in a foreign film. Her eyes didn't blink once in 45 minutes. I excused myself to the bathroom, stared at the mirror, and I saw me, but not me. Something behind my reflection. A second set of eyes, just over my shoulder. I spun around. Nothing. But I swear, the reflection smiled on its own. I stopped trusting mirrors. Every time I looked, there was a delay, a twitch that didn't match. A smile I didn't make. The worst part, it wasn't just in mirrors anymore. Storefront windows, TV reflections, even puddles on the sidewalk, they all showed something just slightly off. Lyra warned me, she said. The more you see them, the more they see you. I asked her what that meant, but she changed the subject. She was scared. I could tell. She had this twitch in her fingers she didn't have before, like she was rewiring herself just to stay still. I didn't know where else to turn, so I went back to Dr. Calder's office. But something had changed. His waiting room was empty. No receptionist. The lights flickered overhead, and the walls, they pulsed. I don't mean they looked like they pulsed. I mean they breathed. When I finally got into his office, he wasn't behind the desk. The chair was spinning, slow and lazy, like someone had just gotten up. Then I saw it on the desk. A note, scrawled in handwriting that looked too angular to be human. You opened the door. Now shut your eyes, or they'll come through you. I didn't take another pill that night. I was too afraid of what else I'd see. But it didn't matter, because now the visions come without them. A man sat on the edge of my bed last night, completely still. His face was a void, no features, just smooth flesh. I thought it was sleep paralysis, until he moved. He whispered, "You don't belong here." When I blinked, he was gone, but the bed was still warm. I called Lyra, panicked. She didn't answer. I went to the coffee shop. No one had seen her in days. Her journal was gone. In its place, taped under the table where she used to sit, I found a photo of me, sleeping, in my apartment, taken from the ceiling. I didn't sleep for 3 days. I tore my apartment apart, looking for cameras, holes in the wall, the smoke alarm, under the sink. I even cracked open my phone and microwave. Nothing, but I could feel eyes on me, constantly, like the walls were watching. And that photo, the one of me sleeping, there was something else. In the corner of the image, barely visible Lyra. She was standing beside my bed, her eyes wide, her face slack. But her hands were blurred, moving fast, like she was doing something to me. I confronted Dr. Calder again. I didn't care if the office breathed, or shadows crawled under the door. But he wasn't alone this time. There were others, 5 of them, all sitting in a circle, facing each other, but completely silent. Their mouths sewn shut with black thread, their faces covered with transparent skin like plastic wrap, no noses, no eyes, just barely human shapes. He smiled when I entered, like he'd been expecting me. "You've made progress," he said. "You're no longer just observing. You're inside it now." "What is this?" I asked. "What are you doing to me?" He leaned close, too close. His skin buzzed, literally vibrated like a radio signal. "You were chosen because you question everything. That's rare now. Most people drink lies like water. But you're a crack in the system." Then he handed me another bottle. A different color this time. Black pills. No label. Just a symbol etched into the cap, a spiral consuming itself. "Last dose," he said. "You'll see what Lyra saw. Then you'll understand." I didn't want to take it. I swore I didn't. But when I got home, the lights in my apartment wouldn't turn on. My phone was dead. The windows showed blackness, not the city, and someone was waiting inside. Lyra. She looked thinner, her skin pale, eyes sunken. She wasn't real anymore. I could feel it. "I tried to stop them," she said. "But once you see too much, they don't let you go back." I asked her what they were. She didn't answer. She just stared at the bottle in my hand and said, "Swallow it, or they'll make you something else." I took the black pill. It melted on my tongue like ash. No taste, just a sudden drop in temperature, like the world around me exhaled. And then, silence. Not the absence of noise, the murder of it. My apartment faded like paper burning at the edges. The walls peeled, furniture warped into abstract shapes. Time buckled. I was standing, nowhere. Endless black, not empty, hungry. The kind of void that watches you back. Lyra stood beside me, but she wasn't Lyra anymore. Her skin shimmered, like cellophane stretched over static. Her mouth opened wider than it should have, too wide. A soft, endless scream vibrated from her throat like a signal trying to reach somewhere deep beneath me. She turned her head slowly and said, "Now you see it." And I did. In the distance, figures. Dozens, hundreds, all shaped like people, but wrong. Limbs too long, Faces folded in on themselves. They twitched, but not in pain, in rhythm, like they were part of some machine. Lyra, what was left of her, pointed. That's what they really are. Not demons, not aliens, just, what's behind the curtain? I asked her. Why me? She laughed, or tried to. It came out broken, like a tape warping. Because you looked. That's all it takes. One curious thought, one pill, one question too loud. I saw myself then, in the crowd. One of the figures had my face, but stretched, hollow. Its chest opened and closed like a mouth. It looked at me and smiled. I turned to run, but the void doesn't have directions. I moved, but the space didn't. Every thought I had echoed aloud. They heard me, and then I woke up, in my bed. Daylight poured through the windows. My apartment was normal. Phone charged, TV playing the news, everything fine. Fine. I reached for the bottle to check if it was a dream, but it was gone. In its place, a new note, written in my handwriting. Pretend, or they'll know you're still awake. I went back to my routines, work, groceries, empty conversations with neighbors who smiled too much. I laughed at jokes I didn't understand. I blinked on purpose so no one could tell I was watching, because now, I see them, not always, but in flickers. The old man on the bus, whose hands glitch midair. The woman at the cashier whose shadow faces the wrong direction. My neighbor's dog, that still stares at my door every night at exactly 3:11 a.m. They're all part of it. Actors in skin, masks with memories. Some of them don't even know what they are. I wanted to find Dr. Calder. I checked the clinic burned down. Years ago. No records, no license. Lyra's number. Disconnected? I tried forgetting. Drinking, smoking, meditating. But the more I try to be normal, the more obvious the cracks become. They watch in silence, not to kill, not to hurt, but to replace. And maybe they already have. The other day, I looked in the mirror again. I stared, I smiled, I watched, and for the first time, the reflection didn't lag. It smiled with me, perfectly. I stared at myself, and I said out loud, just to test it, I am still me. It repeated the words, but the smile stayed, just a little too long, and in that moment, I realized, I don't remember taking the last pill. I don't remember waking up. I don't even remember my name. So here's my question to you. When was the last time you looked in the mirror and truly trusted what looked back?